You carry on every time. Oh my god!
Because it's awesome. Jedi rocks for a reason.
Yeah, I love it. I sometimes, like just randomly I'm at work and that just pops into my head now. Since the intro, just pops in my head all the time.
It's the best bit of music.
That's R2 screaming.
Everybody needs just in their minds when they're at work. It's just how this works.
Literally. Oh my god.
Ultimately, very true. That's the way to do it.
Well, welcome back to the Sith And Scoundrel. I thought I might as well hit live purely because we were chatting about random awesome Star Wars stuff. Anyway, hang on a second. We'll hit go on this one because we were talking about the awesomeness that has been all the behind the scenes stuff for Ahsoka that's now finally coming out.
It just makes it better. Like if I would have had bits and pieces while Ahsoka was going on, maybe I would have like not been so butthurt. Do you know what I mean?
I think you would. I think obviously just before we went live, Tess, you said imagine if Amon played Ezra without ever having watched Rebels, and like could you believe it? And I could because like you know they got Sam Raimi to do Doctor Strange 2, having never watched WandaVision. And that's like 100% true as well. He's openly said in interviews, "No, I didn't watch WandaVision," and like it's almost a direct sequel to that.
Can I just say that I love how we always somehow end up back at an MCU comparison with Matt? Like,
because they're parallel. MCU is set. I mean, they're parallel properties now.
No.
So Marvel have gone ahead and achieved what they have with the MCU. It's why they got Jon Favreau on board. Because what Star Wars are trying to do is build this large interconnected thing. Look at the Mandoverse ending up with Heir of the Empire. And they bring Jon Favreau in. You should go Avengers Endgame. Jon Favreau was like one of the overseers for it. And he was like, no, this is how we build it together. So he was absolutely instrumental in making it consistent. And it's a really interesting thing to kind of watch, especially if you're a fan of both, is that Marvel clearly did it very, very successfully until they Game of Thrones did after Endgame. Game of Thrones is fascinating to me. I'm not a massive fan of it, but from like a pop culture standpoint, for years it's all everyone was talking about, and the finale was so bad that no one talks about it unless they really, really enjoy it. It's not a casual thing. Endgame was kind of like that. MCU peaked at Endgame, and after that they're struggling. So to bring on one of the main creative forces from Marvel into Star Wars to bring this interconnected thing together, what are they avoiding to stop that happening with Star Wars? So this is why the parallels are really important. And they're both Disney properties as well. So what are Disney not repeating?
Crossover. MCU Star Wars crossover.
I mean, they could.
They could if they wanted to. People would be pissed. But this is a controversial opinion that I now. Yeah, this is a controversial opinion.
Spider-Man in Civil War does talk about Empire Strikes Back.
He does.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, when he's taking out Ant-Man, he's like, I watched this really old film called The Empire Strikes Back.
He doesn't even say that, though. It's a really old Star Wars film. And he has a Lego Death Star, for crying out loud, and then still gets it. No.
But it is it does exist in the Marvel Universe. But that's why it always comes back to it, because through large projects, they're both owned by Disney, but what pitfalls are they trying to avoid with Star Wars? Because Marvel's really laid the groundwork for franchises.
I don't want to like be that guy, but now that I'm rewatching Obi Wan, and I know it's not directed by Filoni, although I do love Mandalorian, I prefer Obi Wan. I think the directing and the Easter eggs and everything in it is really good, and I'll get to that later on because there was one particular one that I screamed at Matt about earlier that I didn't catch in the first one because when I first watched Obi Wan. I was only at the beginning of my re-love for Star Wars journey, and now I'm picking up all these little bits that I didn't in Obi-Wan beforehand, and I'm like, damn, this is good. I can't wait to rewatch The Mandalorian and just lose my shit. Do you know what I mean?
I think the two series are designed for two very different audiences. The Mandalorian is absolutely shotgun mass appeal. Like it is. It's so commercial in what it is. It's the good guys
everybody
always
can watch it.
Yeah, here's a hugely profitable green baby. Here's like a plot that's not too intense. It's not too deep rooted in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Mandalorian, I think, is very commercially successful. It's not even commercially appealing; it's commercially successful. Kenobi, I don't think was done to be commercially successful. I think it was to answer people say just based off Ewan McGregor's popularity, and so many people said they wanted him back that they just did it.
Yeah, I mean, Kenobi is much more of a love letter to Star Wars fans than Mando.
Yeah.
Mando is definitely, here's a new story that you don't have to have the background to watch. Whereas Kenobi, although you could watch it without having done a deep dive and still enjoy it, but if you have done the deep dive, it has another layer for it.
But you know why that works so well? Because everybody knows who Darth Vader is, and everybody knows what Stormtroopers are, and everybody knows who Obi Wan Kenobi is. There is no need for any real explanation to these characters. It's like we don't. Again, we can go back to the MCU comparison. It's why we've not had an origin for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, because we've seen it so long. It's branded on. We didn't get it for Ben Affleck's Batman either. When you've seen something for so long, you don't need the same story retold every time you tell it.
No, which is why I love it in Civil War. It's a case of, you've been Spider-Man for 6 months. Okay, cool. This is the tiny bit. Catch people up, done. Here you go.
Yeah. So in Kenobi, you just accept that Vader's there. You don't need this whole diatribe of, and this is why he's here, and this is why he's after Kenobi. You're just like, yeah, okay, he's there. I accept it.
I work with a bunch of younger kids, and by younger kids, I mean 18-year-olds. And I had this one volunteer in the other day, and he quoted Star Wars. I can't remember what it was. It was a Darth Vader quote of some form.
Was he just breathing heaven?
No. But it was really funny because it was more of an obscure...
You're breathing heavily. That's a Vader quote.
But like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was like one of the more like obscure quotes, and I was like, oh dude, like I love Star Wars, like what's your favorite movie? And he's like, oh, I've never seen the movies. And I was like, what the fuck? Wait, what? Like, he was just casually quoting like Star Wars, like not a very popular quote. And I was like, dude, like he's obviously even watching TikTok or something. But I was just like, oh, this is painful. He's 18 years old, and he's like, oh, that's before my time. Yeah. And I was like, dude, you had the sequels out while you were like a teenager, like not even, like you were a preteen when this came out. I was like, what is going on?
No, maybe not. 18 years old, he would have been 5 in 2003.
Yeah,
but no, but like the sequels are out.
Oh, the sequels would have been out. Sorry, I thought you said the prequels. My bad. I thought you were the prequels.
No,
I was like, oh, 5.
He was like, oh, that's too old for me. I won't watch the old ones because I won't watch anything that's literally kids these days. I swear to God, he's 18 and he won't watch anything that was made the year before he was born. I was like, God help them.
Welcome to the Get Off My Lawn segment with Tess. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
No.
I was there, Gandalf, 8,000 years ago.
Oh God, it's just so painful for me. It's painful, man.
I don't think we feel. You're the youngest
You're
one.
You're not that much older than me. Maybe Phill is. I don't know. You're not that much older than me. You just turned 35. I'm outing you right now.
Yeah, I turned 33 next month.
Phill, 2 years younger than me.
Yeah, you're the same age as my husband. You're not that much older than me, dude. We remember the same things.
I remember when the sky was blue.
Matt and I remember a time when there was only 3 Star Wars films.
Yeah, so why?
In fairness, Tess isn't that much younger than me. Like, it's okay.
I'm 31.
Yeah, you're still the youngest here, man.
I'm the baby. I am the baby.
I want to see the baby.
It's I want to see the baby. Give me the baby.
You have something I want.
Yeah.
Have you seen on the socials and everything, Star Wars are really pushing The Mandalorian again?
Yeah. I have.
Like they put a post up the other day.
You want to know how I've noticed? It's all those stupid news ads on my phone.
But even like on the Facebook page, they put like a montage of pictures of Grogu, and they just put, "I want to see the baby." Now it's because it's coming out on Blu-ray, isn't it?
Yep.
But it's also because there's been talks of obviously Pedro not coming back as Din, right? So like all that's in the news and stuff too.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm really okay with it.
We're not having this discussion again. Not going full circle. It's not happening.
Yeah. It doesn't have to. The Mandalorian. It'll just be a Bo-Katan series, man. I'm fine with it.
Please, God, Katie Sackhoff for life. Hashtag the 2%. Sorry, I'm done.
Bo-Katan was the real Mandalorian all along. The real Mandalorian were the friends we made along the way.
I still haven't gotten to her in Clone Wars.
He's been messing up everything. It was Bo-Katan all along.
Bo-Katan.
And she killed Sparky too.
I think she's in season 4, so you're not that far off it though.
Oh no, I'm not even at. Oh no, I'm in season 2 now, aren't I? Yeah. Okay, so maybe not. I'm almost there. I'm getting there, bit by bit. Losing my absolute shit every day.
You'll get the Bo-Ahsoka relationship, and it's great.
I really hope that like overlaps later down the line with Katie Sackhoff live and the whole. Yeah, I really hope.
There's way too much money in it to not.
Mm-hmm.
They will 100%. They'll meet in live action.
They best do.
But
I would be so down for an entire season of her. Like, I'm so down if they do that. If they go in that direction, I'm down. I can't wait. She's my hero.
They beat off Moff Gideon. I mean, they did. In the Mandalorian mind, there might have been a different version of it. I saw. Thinking about it now.
Yeah, okay. Me and Phil have gone down the same rabbit hole here.
It was the bit where Bo-Katan and Ahsoka beat off Moff Gideon.
Saying that. Change, please.
But then Paz Vizsla, he blew his load out of his wrist and then fell to the floor, didn't he?
Oh God. Old pain.
It was 100% Bo-Katan and Ahsoka.
No wonder she wants the Darksaber.
Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
My God, that's so multi-level.
Hey Matt. Be more Bo.
Be more Bo. Be more Bo-Katan and Ahsoka.
Oh. Yep.
You can tell we've all had a really long week.
It's not even like Paz Vizsla, it's like post Vizsla. Post Vizsla clarity. Anyway, after they did that, but it could focus around like the repopulation of Mandalore. That's a bad thing.
This is Star Wars, not Star Horse.
That's my other podcast.
Oh my God. Oh God.
But okay, I'm not repopulate Mandalore. But yes, reestablish Mandalore is what it could be, like season 4.
It better be. I'll fight someone. I'll go and I will fight Filoni to the death. Not to the death. He'd kill me.
Well, I want to know more about. He wouldn't kill you. He's a small man in a Stetson. Like, you'll be fine.
Not true. Small man in a Stetson.
Jon Favreau looks like he could break a motherfucker, but Filoni just has his cowboy hat. You'll be all right.
In his high voice. Anyway.
Yeah. I'd like to get more on the armorer, though.
I do think with
she's dope.
Pedro now taking on Fantastic Four as well, there's definite scope to just add bits to do with the armor, bits to do with Bo, bits to do with Mandalore, and not detract because he already has his little retirement home set up. He can pop in and be a bit part, and it's perfectly fine with that. But also with it being everything leading up to Heirs to the Empire, you don't have to have him have a massive part in that story building up. He will be there at the end of it. That that will be fine. But
his story's been
to get there.
His story's 100%.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they could pull a end a Book of Boba with Mandalorian, and just be like, "Oh yeah, here's
turns up and gets shot. Great.
Yeah.
I'm back again.
Stay down.
God, he looks so good.
I just
He was, and as I said when we did our breakdown, it's the fact they got Corey Burton back to do the voice as well that just sealed the deal. It's one thing having something that looks good, but you need the voice to go along with it to completely nail it.
I haven't met him in Clone Wars yet either.
Oh, he's
actually.
You know sure? No, you would have done. You would have done because the end of season 1, beginning of season 2 is the hostage situation at the Senate, which was done by Cad Bane with Todo.
I haven't finished season 1. I thought I had. Nope.
you know my love for Cad Bane. He's so good.
Yeah, because he has Todo 360, the little droid that's voiced by Seth Green.
Yeah.
I love that. I love Seth Green so much.
You'll like Todo 360 then. And he comes back for Bad Batch, which is even more awesome.
Okay, cool. Well, now I have Cad Bane to look forward to.
Oh, you really do, man. He's so good.
I'm probably like an episode or 2 away. Was he? Yeah, did you finish Bad Batch?
Not yet, no. Because I'll be playing Spider-Man 2.
That's fair.
And you haven't been putting.
Thanks to Matt's very, very kind graces, I have absolutely missioned through the first Spider-Man game and loved it. And now I'm like, oh, but I can't play the second one yet. Damn it!
You can do Miles Morales, dude.
Oh, I know, and I will do at some point. I'm currently playing through Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm about 70% of the way through that.
Oh, nice.
Once I'm done with that, then yes, it will be on to Miles Morales because
it's one of
the best written games I've played in a long time.
So Spider-Man 2, I won't go into the story and stuff because you might end up playing it at some point. The story's great.
I will, yeah.
Kraven is unreal. I love Kraven the Hunter so much anyway. They've done him really well. But there's you unlock the suits, and this is a quick side tangent. You've got the Miles suits from into and across the Spider-Verse. But for Pete, you've got Spider-Man Noir. But it's the Into the Spider-Verse
with the a scene where he does the Rubik's Cube when he's
with the big cape. But when you unlock them, you get a setting, which is they use the same frame rates from the film, and you can switch it on and off. But because of the power of the PS5 and the fact it's done by Sony, they got in like the Spider-Verse animators to draw them, and then you can have the effect as you're swinging around. It's amazing. It's very, very.
I have seen it, yeah.
And so, I mean, it's not the suits I'm using. I've got the Scarlet Spider suit on all the time. That's great. He should have been voiced by Andy Samberg in that game, man. It would have been never taken that off. But no, I just thought, I thought you'd find it especially cool that the animation matches the films when you're playing in those skins, and it's very fun to watch.
That is awesome. Although, to be fair, with looping it back to Star Wars, the one thing I want to get for the PS4 at some point is the VR so I can play Vader Immortal, because it is a completely canon event, but it's Vader. I mean, it's how can I not enjoy it? Canon
event. You kept the link going, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Matt and I.
Put your
Matt and I discovered that I could not be a fighter pilot. So.
Oh, the VR, I've heard from Squadrons it can get a little, if you're not used to it, a little seasick. But I've also heard
was it on the VR, Phil? Just playing Squadrons with the controller.
We were just playing with the PS5 controller, and Tess couldn't do it, and I panicked, and I gave it back to Matt, and I was like, I am no Hera. I'm no Hera Syndulla. I was like,
You did go really wide-eyed, though, when you saw everything. You were like,
It was so pretty. I was like, oh, this is fun. And then I discovered through Matt that I was like, there should be a show where it's following all the squadron pilots. And he was like, there was supposed to be. And I was like, that's just crushed my dreams.
To be fair, it is a series of books which is called Alphabet Squadron, which does do that.
Well, the bits in Lost Stars is good. I like the little bits, but it's not like it doesn't give you much. It's just we're flying
Alphabet Squadron completely does the deep dive for that.
Okay, all right, I'll get there. I've got to do
A, B, X, Y, all the rest of it. So that's why it's called that. But it's
I got
a little bit of a deep dive, and I think Zeb does make an appearance in it as well.
Okay, that's worth it.
Alphabetic Spaghetti Squadron.
Yep.
Alphabetic spaghetti. Oh god, are we gonna talk about Obi-Wan, or am I just gonna we keep you distracted?
I was hoping for Kenobi.
Why are
so
you
many-
here?
I was
I'll
hoping.
just go. This is my favorite. Well, no, this isn't my favorite. This is my second to favorite episode. But this is the first Vader episode.
Tess, can you say that again? That we want to talk about Obi Wan Kenobi.
What? What do you mean?
Let's just say that you
talking about?
want to talk about Obi Wan Kenobi.
I want to talk about Obi Wan Kenobi.
That's why I'm here.
Oh my god. Gotta hate you.
I went Maul. That should have gone the other way.
We should. Did we ever show Phil the video of me on my birthday with the cake where I just screamed for democracy?
No, Phil didn't know you at that point. I wasn't going to randomly send him a video of you. That would have been weird.
He did. He did because we sent him the pictures of the cake.
I have no concept of time.
No, you really don't.
No.
This is not news to me.
I'll send you the video later. It's actually kind of the funniest thing ever. Sorry, I don't know what my cat is eating on the table. Hold on. That's a fake spider, you dumbass. Sorry.
Let's talk about Kenobi. My cat.
I mean, my cat's
Sorry,
called Sabine. It kind of ties in a little bit.
I love that so much. The next time I own an animal, I think it will be Star Wars themed. Themed name?
A Star Wars themed animal. And this is my Ewok.
Just shave a Jedi Order symbol into its side or something.
We call the dog Indiana.
You name me after the dog?
Well, it's funny because Beans was supposed to be Indy, and then she's just an idiot, so I called her Beans. Fun story. Mm.
That's the one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the one that likes you.
Talk about fun stories.
Anyway.
Yes, let's talk about Kenobi, because this is one of my favorite episodes of the show.
Talking about fun stories, let's go into the bleak oppressiveness of the Empire.
Yeah, Vader being
this is a great episode.
It is a great episode. I have to admit, first time I watched this episode, it blew my mind. This time watching the episode, I was like, oh, I found some things I actually didn't quite enjoy. So,
well, I found more things that I enjoy about it, so we can fight.
Excellent. Go get a punch up at a car park.
Well, what didn't you enjoy?
Yeah, what didn't you like?
Well,
let's have at it.
The first thing was kind of like really bizarre, and I never realized it because the first time I watched it through this lens of like my eyes were shaped like hearts, and nothing could be wrong with the series, and it was all great.
You sound so disappointed, like a dad.
It's so confusing to me why he's still dressed so much like a Jedi when they're all out looking for him, and when they're on the transport, and like they're the thickest stormtroopers in the world. It's like, we're looking for a Jedi.
Robe. Just because he's wearing it. Which, by the way, can we talk about how dumb? Like, I know, like stormtroopers, but like that whole scene, I know when it plays out, I'm just like, Jesus.
Once I realized
like,
this.
Well, her mother's name was Leia. What?
Oh, when Obi-Wan just goes, I get confused.
I was like, what? Who's buying that? Oh, wait, stormtroopers.
And I did watch in the background, like after the costume thing, I realized it. I kind of watched the extras in the background, and nobody else is dressed anything remotely like him. And I get it's an identifiable costume, and the problem is it's an identifiable costume. So there's a dude walking around in a Jedi robe on an Imperial-occupied planet where they're all looking for a Jedi, and there's four stormtroopers that get in the transport don't realize.
4 stormtroopers doesn't even make a whole person, Matt. So just think about that.
You do have to bear in mind that these stormtroopers are going to be at this point in their early 20s. So they would have grown up and not really known much about the Jedi. Order 66, what, 10 years before this?
Nah,
So
bro, they would have had briefings. They would have had briefings. We saw it in the last episode where they put the picture of Kenobi everywhere.
Maybe
they wouldn't have just gone, go look for a Jedi, kids. No clues.
People wear robes, right? Like,
no one else really does in that episode. Not that much of a distinctive brown robe with a large hood and large sleeves.
Fair enough.
The study is really weird. And there's something I really realized that I love about the sequel trilogies is that how menacing they make the stormtroopers, because they actually feel like a threat in the sequel trilogies.
Yeah.
And in this one...
Did you just say you love something about the sequels?
Oh, I love the first one. Stormtroopers are great. The armor design's great. They're menacing. They're actually a threat to the cast.
They're scary.
They are scary, and I feel like they should have made these stormtroopers scary. There's Obi Wan who's on the run from everything that's looking for him, obviously, and a child. And then these 4 like armed dudes in armor get on this thing, and like they build it up to be really sinister when they get on there. And then as the conversation starts, it's just really weird and clunky and disjointed, and there's no threat from the stormtroopers. And it
did make me laugh a little bit when I rewatched it. I was like, what?
And I feel like they did it really well with like the remnant stormtroopers in The Mandalorian, Moff Gideon. Like when Moff Gideon's with the stormtroopers, they're really threatening. So it was weird. I get, harkening back to the original trilogy and stuff, but I'd like more menacing or more intelligent stormtroopers would be nice.
Did you ever think that George Lucas, when he created Star Wars and was like, yeah, we're going to have stormtroopers as like soldiers, like in his idea, maybe even before he thought of the clones, or he had those first, who knows? Maybe Phill does. I don't know. Did you ever think that he'd be like, oh yeah, people are going to think these guys are freaking stupid and it's just going to be an inside joke for like 30 years to come, 40 years to come? Like, do you just, because I'm assuming that was not his intention for them to be like, oh, look, haha, they missed again. Or like, they're really stupid and unintelligent because like they die all the time. Like, I don't think that was his intention.
Bad guys in the 70s, weren't they? They're all a bit camp and rubbish back then.
But
this is what I mean.
The threat in that particular especially is supposed to come more from the officer class and then from Vader. And it's a similar bit here with the Inquisitors and Vader supposed to be the bigger,
like Tarkin,
bigger threat. But yeah, no, stormtroopers, especially though, if you then compare it to rebels, well, they're just thick. They are just
the ones rebels aren't great, are they?
But
they're just dumb.
To be fair though, most of the stormtroopers, because they're all conscripted, they're just people who need job security. That's not a full-on raised and bred army. The clone troopers were literally bred for that purpose. The First Order stormtroopers were kidnapped when they were kids, brainwashed into oblivion before they became soldiers. They knew nothing but what happened. They don't even know how they got there. They just know that they're supposed to fight for the First Order. The regular Imperial stormtroopers were just kind of people who were there for either needing a job or people who kind of looked up to the Republic, then the Empire, looked up to Palpatine. So there's a bit of kind of bit from it there, but also by the time it's the remnant stormtroopers, those who are left, those are diehards. Those are people who still believe in the Empire. Those are people who still believe in a cause. Whereas the rest of them all went gone, oh, hang on a second, the Empire's fallen. Maybe we should kind of get away from this, or else I'm going to get killed.
But I'm talking outside of a lore perspective, from a storytelling perspective.
Yeah, it's a little...
They could have been a lot more menacing. Kenobi's not a funny, light-hearted series, so why have light-hearted, thick stormtroopers? Like, there's a real potential for some genuine threat from those four who got on there.
I do agree. I mean, I see it from both sides, the lore side then the regular side, and I do actually see it because I do wish they were that little bit more threat. It's why I get annoyed sometimes with... the whole, stormtroopers can't hit anything. It's like, well, they can. It's just there's plot armor, and also then there is the whole they let them go so that they could trace them. That was another part from from A New Hope. There is bits to it, but yeah, I do wish they were a little bit more.
You can come up with a lore reason to explain anything, which people have done. Why couldn't they hit anything? To let them escape to trace them. That worked. So, but from a storytelling perspective, I feel especially in Kenobi, it's probably the first time Ben's seen an Imperial occupied world. You've got that dude that the aliens and Zap Braff voices. He's like super chirpy, and he's really like, "Hey, gotta love safety, right? The Empire is great." Now imagine if you will, like a World War II. Imagine a Band of Brothers. Or a World War II series where they go into Germany and let's take the exact same scene, but transpose it into like World War II or Indiana Jones, if you like. And they get on a bus, and then on the bus gets, I don't know, 4 stormtroopers. Like a war film or a war series or something that's not comedy isn't going to have them being a bit thick and a bit daft. And there'd be genuine, like, real world threat. So there's that kind of element, and then I really liked the loading robot first time I watched it.
I was just gonna say I loved him though.
I did.
Don't hate on the robot.
No. I don't like that he's so clearly a dude in a suit, which I didn't realize the first time. I watched it this time. I was like, oh, this is literally a dude in a suit that doesn't fit him properly because his legs are funny.
I didn't even think about that. I didn't even notice that. So.
Yeah, because it's not like K2SO, who looked amazing and had quite thin legs and was weirdly proportioned. Yeah, okay, R2-D2 was a dude in a suit, but this just feels like it could have just been a dude.
Yeah.
There's nothing that really made me go, this is a droid. It could have been a big dude who was mute. And the suit doesn't actually fit him particularly well. When you first see him, the thigh things aren't fitted and his legs are bowed out funny. And he's walking like he's got a wedgie. Probably has in that suit. So seeing that, I really liked him at first, but then this time, the fact that it was so obviously a dude in the suit broke some of the immersion for me. And I was less like, oh, what a cool droid. I was like, oh my God, you can see where the wires are stuck to the armor. Those are the bits.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And to be fair, the Stormtroopers is something I do agree with you with, because it's what I do like a bit more about the Remnant Troopers. They do have that up threat level, and you need that threat level. But I guess, as I said, you do have the Inquisitors and Vader who's supposed to be that upper threat level. But yeah, you should be able to, like literally the last episode where he's on a world where everyone's out to get him. That is an entire complete. He is screwed, and people know what he looks like. So yeah, no, I agree with that. But I do like Criff though. He is awesome, or Frick, whatever his name is. Like Zach Braff is just
Frick or Nigel. I just it's just in this situation, you know. What episode of The Mandalorian is it? Is it an episode of The Mandalorian where the tension level's amazing? Oh, the Bill Burr episode of The Mandalorian with the heist.
I love that episode.
And that tension all the way through, and even like Imperial officers, even the drivers of the ATVs are like intimidating. And that tension was genius. It would just be I like that kind of tension for the Empire. And they are just dudes in the army, but still, like, if you're on a bus with a bunch of like squaddies, it's pretty intimidating. And much like that. So yeah, I just felt we've seen the Empire done really well now in the TV series, but I feel like when they're a bit thick and a bit, you know, have you seen a Jedi around?
Yeah.
Well, so it's interesting because you felt that way, because I loved it even more watching it again, because I got to pick out more details that I didn't notice in the first place. But maybe if I was to watch it 4 or 5 times, maybe I would pick out more things. But I was like so excited because I literally was like, oh, I didn't notice that before, and I didn't notice that. And I was like,
what are the Easter eggs that you picked up this time that you didn't the first time then?
Something like really insignificant that isn't that insignificant that I actually thought was a great little thing that they did was first when they. Well, it's not. It's hard to explain.
It's insignificant, but it's not.
But it's not. That I didn't notice the first time was the detail put into when they actually get onto the back of the truck. There's the Empire symbol, but it's painted, hand painted. And I just thought that was really cool, because I was like, oh yeah, I could actually see somebody like representing the Empire by painting this on their thing. And I was like, that's actually really rad. And then my favorite thing that I noticed, because now I know who he is, was when they're trying to escape and they go into like the little cave room, and Kenobi, like Obi-Wan, turns around and goes, Quinlan was here? And he's like, oh yeah, he helps from time to time. And I was like, Voss! I was like,
yep.
I lost it. And then all the symbols on the wall, like the Jedi Order and stuff, done really, really well. I just loved all the little bits in the background as well when you're when they're talking about the loader droid, and there's all the bits and pieces of the different droids that are hanging from the ceiling and like bits and parts, and I was like, this is just done so well. Like the set designers on these really put a lot of thought into this, and I was just living for it. That was mine.
Yeah, I do love the details. I want them to just at some point release a lovely still image so you can go through and like look at all the different Jedi they've put in there, all the little, because you don't get that much of a proper look at it. I'd love to see that. I mean, to be fair, that's me wanting every detail possible because it's me. I'm a nutter.
I totally agree, though. I would love that. I want to know exactly which part to which droid is there, or like what little bit of a blaster, or like what symbol is that and why is that there. Like, I would love to know all that as well, so I get it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is one of my favorite bits of Star Wars they've ever done, because it's Vader being the Vader I envisioned as a kid. I mean, in 4, 5, and 6, you do get the glimpses, especially the opening episode 4 in the corridor. He is menaced. He's just choking people out because he needs information. It's Vader being that little bit unhinged. And this entire episode is him going, I finally found Kenobi. Right, I can now get my revenge. I can now bring him in. I get to do to him what he did to me. And by the time he especially gets to the end of the episode, where he could have quite easily just snapped Obi-Wan's neck, he goes, no, he
lets him run away,
literally
like,
drag you over hot coals because I want you to suffer how I did.
I mean, that was amazing. Like that was incredible. And it was, you're right, it was seeing proper Vader to an extent.
It's kind of, you get a glimpse of it in the corridor in Rogue One. It's like, that is just the Vader vision. But then this is more so because you have the conversation between him and Reva, especially when he first comes into the room and just holds up in the air and goes, what have you been playing at? This is not how things are supposed to go. And if you lose Kenobi, this is on you will be paying with your life. He sees her ambition. He plays her off against them. It's Vader being Vader. Yeah.
And knowing what I know now as well, how the series ends, going back and seeing Reva as well is really interesting in the rewatch. Like all the little bits I missed initially, in her attitude and her mission in regards to the series is really, I think that's really cool. And and that includes her interactions with Vader, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense? I'm trying not to say anything, but like also, I'm sure we all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, you're frozen on screen, by the way.
Am I?
Yep.
Yeah, you're not moving.
There it is.
There you go.
That's weird. I am here.
Yeah. No, you're probably just doing something else on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking into something about the carvings in that tunnel. Sorry.
Yeah. That's all good. What I love this. So this is also for those who haven't played Fallen Order. This is your first look at the Fortress Inquisitorius.
I haven't.
Oh, Mordor.
Yeah. No, that's no. You're thinking of Vader's castle. No, this is I mean the actual Inquisitor's Fortress. I can't remember on the world.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Although again, Vader's castle being seen for the first time, which you haven't read the comics, you won't know that he had his own little, home away from home on Mustafar.
Fortress, yeah. Is that on?
It's on Mustafar, yeah. It is
I thought it was on Mustafar.
Because when you go into Rebels and Kanan gets taken away, when they say this is where Jedi go to die, this is what they're talking about. It's Vader's castle on Mustafar. Because it's where Anakin properly was destroyed and became Vader. It's where Obi-Wan abandoned him. It's where he had his complete, he choked out Padme. He just completely gave in to the dark. This is after. I mean, that's again, go back to Star Wars there for a second. But it's after, of course, Order 66. But this is the full this is where Vader was created in terms of the suit where he got hacked up and the rest of it. So yeah, that's where Vader has his fortress, and that is where Jedi get taken to be interrogated if Vader wants to have a proper chat with them before the Inquisitorius put them in the the Jurassic Park Amber Museum underneath.
Jurassic Park Amber.
I loved that. That was great. It has one of my favorite Vader lines in it as well, which is like, this is what is it? This is, you made me like this, or this is what's the line? I just thank you. That one. See, I just watched it and I can't remember. But that's actually like one of my favorite lines. I love it so much because I'm like, oof. And then the clips of episode 3 that are playing in the background, you're like, oh, I love this. So good. Anyway. Sorry,
no, it was a good confrontation. I am getting a little bit bored of fights with Vader that smash his face mask open. I don't know, this one didn't do it, but it happens later in the series. Yeah. So it's nice to see something different done, and it's nice to see a lot more aggressive as well with the fire. But the castle, this was the first live action, wasn't it? Because Fallen Order was before this.
Yes.
Because if you go to it in Fallen Order.
Yeah, because Fallen Order is 15 BBY, so it's 5 years before this.
But I mean, in actual like media and stuff, Fallen Order came before Obi Wan, and yeah.
Okay. I don't know the games. I don't know the order of the games or anything. I'll get there one day. Take a big step.
Very good, but you're playing as a Jedi that survives Order 66, and.
No, but like every Jedi?
Like every Jedi. Like every Jedi.
No, tell a lie. Bast Castle, which is what it's actually called, it was in Rogue One.
Oh.
That's the first time you see Bast Castle. In terms of Vader's castle.
God,
the Fortress of Mysterious, this is the...
I mean the Fortress, yeah.
Oh, yeah. In which case, that's the first time you see it, yeah. I think.
You see Vader's castle in episode 3?
Not Vader's castle, you don't know.
Just Mustafar. Yeah.
I had a thought while I was watching it today. It's totally like random side thought now. I was like, oh yeah, it's totally no, it's not Hayden Christensen in the suit test. It's not. I Googled it and I was like, oh, he had stunt doubles. I was like, that's unfortunate. I thought it was Hayden Christensen in the suit the entire time. I was like, oh, Hayden. No, it isn't.
No, it's him in the back tank, isn't it?
Pardon? Yeah, it is, yeah.
Head in the back to tank. James Earl Jones is doing the voice of Vader. Hayden, and someone else is in the suit, but Hayden's everything in between.
Yeah, so Hayden's only actual scene in the suit with Ewan McGregor is the scene in which the mask is split open.
But Hayden does wear the suit at some point, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He does quite a few scenes. If it's him moving around, anything more than walking, it is a stunt double. But the rest of the time, it is him.
Because there's this whole thing
I just assumed it was a stunt double the entire time. So this is why you can't Google things, because it doesn't give you the proper information.
But I think because there was this whole thing when they were filming it that Hayden wore the suit on set, and he said that's the first time he's worn the suit.
No, I knew he wore the suit.
It's not, because the first time he wears it is in episode 3. He literally does come onto set. The whole bit where Vader comes up to Palpatine. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he made a big deal of it because he said, look, they could have got a stunt double in to do it or someone, but he's like, no, I want to wear the suit.
Yeah.
And George was like, okay, we'll make it for you. So they put in a bit of stilt for him, and it was.
And it might have been an episode 3 interview I saw that resurfaced around the time of Kenobi.
Yeah. But just
because McGregor's going on about how terrifying it was to see him in this suit.
Yeah. Just doing a quick little double check though, because I wanted to make sure I was correct on it. No, so the Fortress Inquisitorius, the first appearance is actually in Vader issue number 12. Which is from the first run. So that's 2018, but then debuted properly in Fallen Order.
Right. And that was in this.
Yeah. Because
I love that ocean base.
But the thing is, like, in that particular scene, that's in that comic, that's when you find out Vader's relationship to the Inquisitors, because he hates them. He absolutely hates them with a passion because, well, Palpatine was like, well, I can replace you. You are you are, unfortunately, you are broken. You do not serve the purpose that you're supposed to. Are supposed to get the most powerful Jedi known to man, and oh, look at you, you're just in a suit. You're awful. Right? I need better people to do the job. And they put them against each other.
Speaking about the Fortress Inquisitorius scenes,
Fortress Inquisitorius.
The seventh sister.
40K name.
Right. I'd never really realized she was in the background before.
Wait, say that again. What?
The seventh sister. There's a scene between the fifth brother and Reva. The seventh sister's kind of in the background.
Yeah.
And I was like, she looks great. Now, the seventh sister, is that the one Sarah Michelle Gellar voiced in Clone Wars? Because this one was also yellow.
Yeah, no, this is a different Inquisitor. If I try with the exact name of it.
We need to replace the seventh sister. Just get another yellow one. Get another one.
Oh, God. I love it.
It was a very cool looking face paint and costume, and I noticed it, and I needed to check with you. Is that meant to be Sarah Michelle Gellar's one in live action?
No.
I haven't got that. Man, I'm excited.
That would be cool, because that will connect it through to Rebels as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I know what you're talking. I know what you're talking of, and that would God.
She's got
I just want to rewatch everything now.
Yeah, I think you'll do a rewatch of Rebels next year. I think.
Oh, probably I think you'll do and for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And for the rest of my, I want to talk about the fact real quick that I don't know why, but in this episode, I just wanted to be like, Leia, why? The entire time. He's like, don't say anything. What does she do?
So that's fourth sister.
That's fourth sister. What, in Kenobi?
Kenobi is fourth sister. Seventh sister is the one that Sarah Michelle Gellar voices.
Right. That's a shame.
Why are there so many sisters? Sorry.
And there's a fifth brother. He's great.
I know. I love them all. I feel like the lore behind them obviously being like Force sensitive kids and being taken by the Empire is actually just like the most horrific thing you could possibly think of. Like when I really think about that. Sorry?
Leia, but why?
Oh yeah, Leia, but why? Because she literally, like, I know she's a 10-year-old, and I totally get that. But my only thing was like, Obi Wan was like, okay, you can't speak. What? Because I can't, or because I don't want to? Like, Christ! And they get on the back of the truck, and she just starts popping off, and she's like, yeah, no, like it's my daddy. Jesus Christ! I was like, she just doesn't listen. And then there's that scene where he when they get onto the planet where he yells at her and he's like, you can't trust everyone, Leia. And I'm like, oof.
I liked her when she does turn to him and she's like, you knew my mother, didn't you?
Yes, oh my God, that's the best part between them in this episode, I think, for me. And it was just like, I can tell that you knew my mother. Are you my dad? And he's like, no.
That's the one that gets me more, because it's the fact that even after all this, he still looks back on Anakin with love. It's not Vader, it's Anakin. It's a proper... He mourns the friend he lost more than what it became. It doesn't, to be fair, he doesn't even know who he became properly until obviously you meet him at the end. It's just what have you become? Like, I am what you made me. It makes it hit home that bit more.
Point I wanted to bring up. You know when he's sitting there meditating?
Yeah.
Great camera work, by the way. That opening thing is perfectly symmetrical. Really good camera work.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my question is that him using the Force and seeing these things, or are they just flashing in between? Is that him discovering that Anakin is Vader and seeing that? Or that was my confusion. I was like, is he actually seeing that it's him and now knows that it's him because the Force is telling him this and showing him this? Or what is happening? I was like...
You know how Rey kept seeing Kylo Ren stepping out the shower?
Yes, so that was my... Wait a minute. Yes, with no shirt on every fucking
Obi-Wan
time.
kept thinking about shirtless Anakin.
Yep, inappropriate Star Wars FaceTime.
Oh my God, honestly, he never But they were like, Adam, take your shirt off. Like every scene, like why? Anyway, it's just my rant.
Because Swallow Ren.
God. Swallow Ren.
And that's not in the special grown-up version of Star Wars. That's actual Star Wars.
No, his name is Matt. Matt the technician. Sorry.
I still think that's your job on Facebook as well, Matt. Is still radar technician.
It is still radar technician on Circular Base. Yeah, that's a joke that will never die. It's so good.
It is.
It's so funny when Matt showed me that the first time. I absolutely lost it. That in the just got to get to the gig, man. Gotta
get to the gig.
30 minutes late, that's jazz time, man. You just stereotype. I love that Matt the Radar Technician sketch. It's so good. Yes.
Adam Driver's a gem. Yeah.
Have you seen Color's lightsaber? Here, let me show it to you.
It's cool.
I was in the shower and Kylo Ren, and he's got like a 12-pack. He's so shredded.
Yeah. What do you guys think of Kylo Ren?
Hey guys, I got to tell you, I'm not Matt. We're your Kylo Ren. We know. I knew when you threw me through the drinks machine. I knew when you said, "Hi, my name's Matt."
Kills me. Oh God. Anyway.
After the rain comes the sunshine. Sorry, I killed your family.
He has a card. I forgot about that. Oh Jesus.
Yes, exactly.
Why do you just know that quote by quote? Christ.
I've watched it so many times, man. So many times.
How did we go from Leia being 10 to this? I don't know.
Because
we're honestly
10 rhymes with Ren. Phil probably got a real reason as to Obi Wan communicating with Anakin in the Bacta tank. I just felt it was very Rey and Kylo for a second.
No, anyway, it is proper Force link.
Okay, I was questioning that when I was watching it. Now that I know what that is, because I properly watched the sequels while screaming at the TV. We won't get into that, but I watched the sequels way after I finished. Did I finish Rebels and then I even watched? What's my timeline, Matt? I don't even know anymore.
You watched the sequels before Rebels.
Oh, did I? Okay. Well, before I finished Rebels,
this is terrible. Somehow Palpatine returned. Gotta get it into every episode, kids. And then I was like, Tess, watch Rebels. Like, because you were really disparaged after watching the sequels. And I was like, just watch Rebels.
Yeah, because I remember I had to wait for you two to catch up to Matt because Matt was watching Rebels at the time, and I had to wait for him to catch up before I could actually talk to him about certain bits and pieces.
And then watching Rebels at the same time reinvigorated your love for Star Wars because the sequels almost killed it.
Oh, the sequels almost had me off dead. I almost literally wanted to cry every time. Of the first one, I was like, okay, all right. Because I never properly watched the first one. I only watched half of it. And I was like, yeah, this is great. And then I got to the second one and I was like, Jesus. Somehow.
Leia turned into Kenobi and be like, can you not use the Force? And Kenobi's like, that's not how the Force works. Han said it first.
Leia just floating in space. But
again, so Tess and I were having this conversation earlier, Phil. There's actually lines in the script writing that I like in the sequel trilogy, right?
Oh, yeah.
And connecting it to Kenobi, that's not how the Force works. Because he says it in this episode when Leia's like, can't you just use the Force to get us there or make us go faster? It's a trade route, Leia. Can't you use the Force to get us there? That's not how the Force works.
Force works, yeah.
Of course, Han shouts it at Finn, and it's amazing. It's such a good line because it's very Star Warsy.
They can fly now?
Yeah, so there's this video of the 10 worst lines from Star Wars on a whole. And of course...
Which we wholly disagreed with, by the way. We did not like this list.
The absolute zinger was somehow Palpatine returned. We knew that would be on there. Because what a great, well-written bit of media. But there's the line in it of they fly now. They fly now.
They fly now?
They fly now. Which was on the list. Now, I said to Tess, I was like, I actually quite like that line because, yes, it's yes, it's completely ignoring the 2,000 years of technology that's come before it. But in essence, it actually felt very Star Wars. You could imagine Luke saying it to Leia, saying it to Han.
Han, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and this guy was just like, it's a terrible line. And I was like, no, that line feels like Star Wars.
Yeah. But also, they haven't come across stormtroopers with jetpacks yet. That's the whole point of it. It's like, oh, wait, they fly now. It's not even a, wait, they actually can fly. It's a, oh, wait, no, these ones can actually fly.
They're not the Purge Troopers.
No.
This is what happened when I started rewatching Star Wars, though. I was questioning everything. And then you guys said something to me when I first got on the podcast, and it's like, Tess, you have to think of the fact that this is an expansive universe and not everybody has left their planet.
Not everything happens on Tatooine.
Yeah. No.
Just don't watch Boba Fett and you'll believe that. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Actually, to be fair, though, I had to watch that, and I'm glad I did watch it, because at least it gave me some context from Mando Season 3. But
to be fair, though, when we did our Boba Fett breakdown, Matt and I did agree on some parts that the second half of the season
sounds like a rap song.
Boba Fett breakdown.
Yeah, the breakdown, yeah. But no,
you know the Pokemon rap? It's the Boba Fett breakdown. Gotta break him down. Mandalore!
Oh, God.
Pokemon, Mandalore, same amount of syllables, it'll work.
Anyway.
Sorry, Phil, the Boba Fett breakdown.
Yeah, I want to know the Boba Fett breakdown now.
Then we go to Phil with the Boba Fett breakdown.
Matt. Jesus.
He's no good to me, Deadpool. I mean, yeah, no.
I thought you were about to start beatboxing, but go on.
No. I'm a man of many talents. That is not one of them.
Yeah, it's not mine either, don't worry.
No, what I was saying is that even though, yes, it is all set on Tatooine, there are problems with it. There are cool bits in Boba Fett. And even it brought Tamara Morrison back. In the last episode, we had the 501st Clone Trooper needing coins, which was a lovely scene. I wish they'd done more of that, but we didn't get any.
Yeah,
which was a shame.
I don't know. I really liked the bits with Ahsoka, and I really liked the bits with Luke and Grogu training and everything. I thought that was really important.
Just could have been its own holiday special. An actual good holiday special, not
or it could have just been in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It could have been.
Yeah,
I genuinely think it could have been its own little one-shot, little holiday bit of what are Din and Grogu up to now kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I said this to Matt when I was watching it. I was like, God, people must have been so confused if they didn't watch Book of Boba Fett, and then they got into season 3, and they're like, oh, somehow Grogu returned. Like, where the fuck did he go? You know what I mean?
That's clearly all they had to say. Because nothing ever needs an explanation when it comes to lore.
Can you imagine? Like, I could not imagine. I'm so glad I watched it. Like, Matt forced me to watch. He's like, you have to watch it. And I was like, okay.
That would be
powered through.
That would be 100% Kelly Motto saying that.
Oh my God.
Somehow Grogu returned.
Returned.
But you're right. I mean, you got, again, you know, the standard MCU Star Wars comparative that seems to be my trademark is they could look at doing serious holiday specials. Look at the Guardians of the Galaxy one. That completely knocked it out the park. It's a standalone 45-minute Guardian story. It's fun. It's festive. It's canon.
Yeah, and that episode of Book of Boba Fett should have been that. It should have been its own. Here's your little one shot to get you through to the next season. Yeah, we haven't finished it, but here's something that bridges the gap. But
the Guardians Holiday Special showed not everything has to be a series or a movie.
No.
You could just do a quick 45-minute thing and have it be successful.
But this is I'm going to go way back in time here to all the, well, not way back in time, but I haven't watched it in probably 10 years. This is all the Doctor Who Christmas specials, which, by the way, if you hadn't seen, had little tidbits in it that led into the new season that came out right after. So, like,
I was a big Who fan, Tess. Like,
okay, well, so am I, but up to before Capaldi. So we might fall out. I don't know.
Oh no, I love Capaldi and I love Whittaker. Just I don't like the writing.
No, okay, exactly. That's exactly. It's not the actor's fault.
No, it's the writing. 100% the writing, especially Jodie.
I don't know. The minute they brought in Sonic
fantastic as the Doctor, but
yeah,
no. Don't look at my browser history. What? Yeah, that's a thing we don't need.
Yeah, no. But that's what I mean. Like they could do something similar with with that. And just, Matt's right. They could have like Christmas holiday specials. So
not
as long
everything
as it's
has
not
to be
like
a movie, man.
as long as they don't do what they did for the original holiday special, we will be fine.
No, but they've learned from that, right? Because the reason James Gunn did the Guardians one, it was a love letter to that Star Wars one, in a way.
Yes.
Star Wars did it. We're going to do it. It works for the Guardians of the Galaxy. And what could have been really cringy and cheesy was actually a very charming, fun. It canonical, it fed into Guardians 3.
Yeah.
And it was, I will watch it. It's December. It's almost Christmas time. I'll probably watch it again this weekend. I love it. I watched it many
fantastic. I love it as well.
It was a big comfort watch for me last year.
My question is, and I question this coming back into Star Wars, I'm loving it so hard, so much as I do now. But my question for you guys is, and I've been thinking about this a lot recently because I actually watched a YouTube video on it, like an hour-long YouTube video, and I was like, that makes some good points. Can they get to the point where they've done too much with Star Wars and we're just sick of it? Because that's what I mean. And I had that feeling 100%. The other day. I was like, "Oh, where do they stop and like make it so it's not been overdone?"
They won't.
They won't. Yeah, no, I know they won't. It's Disney.
No, I'm hoping Iger does kick people a little bit and get it back towards what it should be, which is here's your films, and then here's a series every now and then. I mean, don't get me wrong. Got the Acolyte coming up is something that I am stupidly excited for, and it's the only thing I know that's been confirmed to have multiple seasons. And I'm excited for that. But you can overdo it.
There's too much. Like there's that cartoon, that like little Jedi young ones or whatever it's called.
Young Jedi Adventures. I don't even know. Yeah,
that one.
That's great fun though.
Yeah, but it's like, are they doing too much? Are there too many things?
I think. But I think it's a byproduct of the culture we live in. No, it's not necessarily cinema releases and anything anymore because everything's available from home. You look at what HMV is turning into. If you've been to any of the new style HMVs, the HMV store,
I haven't.
They've stopped. It's not about physical media anymore. It's to basically turn a Forbidden Planet. It's action figures and manga and vinyl. Yeah. Right, it's now the HMV store. That's what they're changing and rebranding to. Because we're moving away from that. We're living in a society where everything's easily accessible and consumable, and things go too far. And again, I will make a comparison. The MCU should have ended at Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, but a good thing though, bring it back actually to what you said at the start, Matt, was to talk about how Mando's being pushed a little bit because it's coming up to Christmas, so you got the physical release of Mando Season 1 and Season 2. I have those coming.
Yeah.
I will watch the behind-the-scenes discs because I got more than just what's on Disney+. But for the actual show itself, I will not watch my physical Blu-ray. I have, up on my shelf above me, I have every single physical release in the Steelbook format, as well as just standard DVDs, the theatrical releases, everything. Apart from, quite literally, the theatrical releases of the original trilogy, I won't ever take them down to watch them because I have it all available on Disney+. I can just hit a button and it's there. I have them because I want to have their physical collection. It's something that I personally love. But your average person won't go out and spend £360 on 11 films in a steelbook format because why would they when they can spend $7.99 a month and go, cool, I'm just going to go watch it online. And that's it. Then does bring that back to are they doing too much? Like the moment, probably not. But at the same time, fatigue is part of the culture. Everyone wants everything now, and they want as much as they can. And it kind of then takes away from some of the specialness.
The issue you've also kind of got is the more you do something, the more you create on a certain IP, the more you release, you water down what's already there. And you lose a lot of the impact. And it's the line in epic rap battles, Phil. Cranking out or cranking out lines of assembly line whimsy. You start the bigger you make the pond, the less impressive the fish are, I guess.
But this is it. Like you shoot yourself in the foot, and there's too many holes to fill in, and then it just becomes, that's my fear, is that it'll go too far, and then someone will be like, that's canon now, like they've done. It's like, oh yeah, all that stuff that was it's not canon anymore, and you're like, okay. And it's kind of like, are they going to continue to do that? And that's my worry, is that it's going to get so big that they can't catch up.
It's also less of an event. You look at the videos, and the video I showed you the other day of the merchandising behind the Phantom Menace, like that just mental video. We watched it when you came over on that Monday.
Oh yes, yeah.
Here's the 78 licenses they gave out and whatever.
Yes, that was insane.
And the hype behind that film release was so big. Now, what's happening is there's so much being pumped out. These films coming out aren't an event anymore. They're not exciting. No one's really speculating anything. Now, I know from running events, and Phil, we probably know from playing in a lot of events. If there is a X-Wing or Warhammer event on somewhere every single month, you go to one and then you're like, it becomes easy to miss them. Yeah. Because if you run an event once every 6 months, you're like, oh, if I miss it, I'm not going to get a new one for 6 months. It's all anyone's going to talk about for 6 months.
Whereas like Celebration is every 3 years in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Excited for that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so the first one I went to was 2016. They had one in 2000 and I think it was 2007 or 2008, something like that. It was either for the 30th or something. And then the last one was then 2023. So there was a huge gap between them. And that also in and of itself, they go, okay, well, the next one we've got is 2025 in Japan, but we haven't got one. There will be one in 2027, but you've got one every other 2 years that's also in different locations. Yeah, it's a big event. I mean, I saved an awful lot of money. I planned pretty much my entire year around, okay, this is the big thing for me. And at the moment,
and that's a great event.
Enjoying the gap between the films, because at the moment, okay, we haven't got a Star Wars film. There's bits to build up to, but now we've got As the Empire coming. Yeah, looking forward to see how we get there. But yeah, that gap, I mean, I do recall, obviously, when I was younger, the gap between 1, 2, and 3, especially by the time you got to between 2 and 3.
Yeah,
I was at that age going, okay, well, I know a lot about it. I want more, but I've got to wait a few years before you can get there. And when I got there, I felt lucky enough that I was alive at the period to be able to enjoy more Star Wars. Now at a point where, yes, I look forward to each book release of the High Republic. I'm going, cool, I've got 2 years left before it's all done. I've got 9 books in 2 years to enjoy what's out there.
Side tangent, Phil.
But it's so, yeah, go on.
You did not tell me how many bloody phases there were.
Yeah, that's 3. That's it. There's only 3. So it's going to be done in 2025.
So many. There's so many.
Yeah. Okay. So.
And this is the other kind of point of what you were saying, Tess. And this is a really good example of it. As a human being who works a full-time job and has a relationship and things to do, there is only so much media you can consume. And at some point, it feels like an avalanche, or it feels overwhelming because you're like, all right, I need to watch Clone Wars because that's going to recontextualize everything I've seen. But I also want to read these books. But then Skeleton Crew's meant to be coming out at some point. So I need to... I remember the push on watching Rebels was to get it done before Ahsoka.
God, that was stressful.
And that was like, you've got to finish this by Ahsoka because this starts where this ends. And then you've suddenly go, shit, I've got 2-3 weeks to watch 3-4 seasons of this.
Which, by the way, can I just go back and say was so stressful and so painful, especially because I sped through it to the point where I was watching 3-4 episodes a day just to get through it. And by the time, spoiler, Kanan dies, I was bawling like a small child. And it was so I know, hashtag rest in peace. I literally, and then I had to watch it again when Ezra and the thing, and I was just like, this is too much. And then it just ended. And I was like, oh, it's over now. And I just felt numb for like days afterwards.
Phil and I used to get very, very, very excited a long time ago.
Yeah.
Where at Comic-Con Hall H every year, remember when Marvel would release the slate for the next 8 years of films, 5 years of films, and they would go, this is coming out here. And then a year later, and it was like one film a year at that point. And you'd look at this slate and be like, oh, we're getting like a Doctor Strange movie in 5 years' time. This is amazing. And you'd be really hyped for these announcements. And now they make them, and it's like, here's everything that's coming out in a week. It's not a week, obviously, but and there's so much on the plate. You're like, I cannot keep up with any of this. And it's like that with Star Wars at the moment. Remember years ago, they did the slate, And they were like, there's going to be episode 7, 8, 9. But it was like episode 7, Rogue One. Episode 8, the Boba Fett and Han Solo film. Episode 9, whatever. And then you were excited because they released this 10-year plan or whatever it was, or an 8-year plan or whatever. And it only had 6 films on it. And you were really excited for those 6 films. If they did that now...
Yeah,
and also, they've cancelled so many projects that things we were really excited for aren't going to happen now.
Yeah, so you lose some of that. And the biggest example I've got personally, and I'm speaking as someone who has a little bit more free time than most due to circumstances. I am a massive fan of the High Republic, and I do my deep dives on that. I have, in single issue form, in my collection, I think I'm missing about 20 of the single issues that come out for Star Wars. And that's since 2015. There's about 1,500 that have come out.
Yeah.
I don't have time to sit and read all of them. I don't have time to do the complete deep dives, and I don't have time to know absolutely everything that's canon. And it does get to a point of where I am sat some months going, hang on a second, so I've got this coming out, this coming out, this coming out. Oh shit, I've missed this. I need to get this. Oh crap. I'll make sure that's on pre-order to make sure I get that, because I want the collection, but I don't even have the time to sit down and go through. And it does lose a little bit of the specialness, but this is not me complaining as a Star Wars fan going, cool, I have all this that I've never had before, and I love it.
Yeah.
But it does, I kind of see it, and I do agree with it, because I'm sat here going, but I was excited for that, and I've cancelled it. Oh, well.
Well, this is it for
not
me.
Even the heartache.
Yeah, and this is for me, obviously, refueling a love for it and getting way harder into it than I had been when I was younger. Is for me, and what Matt said as well, is that for me on that side, it's like I talk to you guys, I talk to Matt, and then I talk to you, and I'm like, oh my god, I want to know all these things that they know. And then I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to read Dr. Aphra, but I'm also watching Clone Wars, but then I also want to read the High Republic, but I've got Lost Stars going on at the moment, and it's just like all of these things. And I'm rewatching Obi Wan like Kenobi, and I'm like, because I'm like, I have a husband and cats and a full-time job, and I'm just like Matt said, and it's like I want to just be there now. And I'm not, and it's stressful. And then I lose my love for it. Like there'll be a week in between me watching Clone Wars episodes because I'm like, oh man, I just cannot right now. Do you know what I mean?
You have, so obviously you've got One Piece, like the anime One Piece is over 1,000 episodes or something stupid like that, right?
Yeah.
It was announced last week that this is the final phase of One Piece. This will be the end of it.
Wow.
And
thank God, though. I mean like they needed to.
For such a long time now that I'm sat there, like I really enjoy One Piece. I really enjoyed the Netflix series. I've been very slowly reading the manga. It's very good. It's pirates. It's magic pirates. There's nothing to not like about that. But I'm sat there now as someone who's reading it now for the first time, going, there's over 1,000 episodes. I don't know how many chapters of the manga there are, but there's over 1,000 episodes. By putting a cap on it and by putting out an announcement going, this is the final phase, this will be the end, it suddenly makes it achievable going, all right, so actually I might get to the end of it. Not a case of once I've read 1,000, whatever, watched 1,000 episodes, there's another 500 I've got to get through. So if they went, this is the end of Star Wars. Like this is how it's going to end and this is where it's going to end. Yes, it'll be sad, but at the same time, are you going to appreciate the media you've actually got more? Probably.
But then again, with One Piece, there's not so much wiggle room, is there? Because with Star Wars lore, there's so much wiggle room, isn't there? But I think with One Piece, it's one of those things where there isn't. So like, even if Star Wars was to end, the lore would keep building on because of speculation and unwritten things, whereas One Piece is quite straightforward. Does that make sense? Because I feel like it would never end even if it doesn't.
It would be at the same time. There's only especially for those of us who, yes, I am one of the purists who goes, cool, yeah, if it's canon, it's canon. If it's not, I don't care about it because but to be fair, I sit there going, well, that's because there's so much canon. I have to be able to digest that I can't even begin to think about the stuff that doesn't matter because it's trying to interfere with what does and all. It's a complete mindfuck when you look at it going, hang on a second, there is so much to it. I mean, and this is coming from someone who adores it as much as I do, who does do the deep dive as much as I do, who wants to absorb as much as I can. But there is a limit. And to be fair, I want to kind of wrap the show up purely because we've run on a little bit and
I know. I just realized.
But I'm not sitting here kind of bagging on how much we've got. But I do wish sometimes that it was a case of using the High Republic as an example, where I go, okay, yes, I've only got 2 years left. I've got 9 books, 2 years, and only 2 comic runs to go with, I think, 3 or 4 one-shots. That's about it. That's all I've got left of the High Republic. When it's finished, along with the Acolyte, this is going to be your block. This is all you're going to get. And I like that. I like the finality of, here is your block of lore.
Do you know what the absolute best example of this, and the absolute best example of what you've just said with that coming to an end, having is your end point? The Horus Heresy. 140, 150 novels. I gave up at novel 13 when the book series was on book 76 or something. And then they've gone, we're going to release the final 8 books, and that's the end of it. I picked it back up with the final 8 books. I've gone, you know what? I don't have to read the 130 books in between. I know who the characters are. But I can have the final 8 books, and I know it's done. It's not going to suddenly go on and on. So knowing that something's got an end could also like refuel interest in it as well. I think
100%.
You know, such a good example of it.
Yeah, and you know that because of where I've been at recently into both the game itself, but also the books. I've started from the beginning. I'm about a third of the way through False Gods. So I went, because I can sit on my laptop and listen to it, but I can do it in piecemeal. I know I've got an end to it. I can just kind of slowly get there. And it's there's a good point to the end of the death is what the end of the Horus Heresy is called. And it's actually a beautiful way of looking at also with it kind of finality of products, whether it be books, films, whatever it is you're watching, whatever it is you're taking in. When you know there's an end point to it, you treasure that bit more. Same as in, if you want to do a real philosopher's side, same as life. You know you've only got an amount of years on the planet. You don't know how much time you've got. You just know you have a finite bit of time. So you spend that making the most of it. And I do the same with Star Wars and do the same with a lot of things in life. It's kind of looking at it.
Because people
I think I'm just trying to absorb too much. I think if I was to just stick with Clone Wars and knowing there's an end to Clone Wars, because there's only 7 seasons? I don't even know. Then I know that that's finite, that's ended, and then I can connect the dots other ways and maybe then move on to books and things, because I think right now I'm just overwhelmed.
Do you know what it is? Like, do you know genuinely know what it is? You're a completionist. And when you finish something, you have a sense of achievement for finishing it. And when you look at Star Wars, as a big
I get worried about. Yeah, well, and this is it, but it's also like to go on a side tangent here real quick, is that like I'm a huge reader. I read a lot of books, i.e. bookshelves behind me. But I sometimes will subconsciously not finish a book because I don't want it to end.
No, but when you finish Rebels, you held it so deeply to your heart, and you were talking about the end of Rebels and how good Rebels was as a whole thing, and it was so dear to you. And I feel like once you've gone through Clone Wars and you've watched the end of Clone Wars, you'll look back on it with this great fondness. Especially when it gets good. But the way
same with me at the High Republic.
Same with you in the High Republic, and the way you were looking at the films right now and the visual media is that there's no end point to any of it. The Clone Wars is an end point because it leads up to Episode 3 and the end of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But the problem is they've told so many stories in the phases that there's information everywhere. There's no solid current, I guess, but and I think that's why a sense of achievement to finish something.
And I literally have that. I'm chatting with Robin about it because we are both reading the High Republic at the same time. We have a finite list of things when it comes to the comics and books of the High Republic. There's only 6 books for phase 2, 9 books for phase 1. There'll be 9 books for phase 3. There is a main series and either an IDW or Dark Horse series per phase. That's it. That's all you've got. And we are going, okay, I have read all of phase 1, all of phase 2. Now we've started phase 3, but it's the completionism part of it. It's why I buy the physical media. It's why, yes, I'm getting Mando because, I'm a completionist. I want to have everything, but I enjoy having it all. But it's a way of looking at it. We're going to end tonight's show pretty much on a rather philosophical note of where do you stand on Star Wars? Is completionism or forever? But
I like my media with a sense of achievement.
Indeed.
Stay classy, Planet Earth.
Indeed. We shall see you
Stay
all next
sassy,
time.
Star Wars.
Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.